to invite Professor Babita Ghai ma'am. She's a renowned professor and consultant in charge of the pain clinic at Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences.
I will be talking on myalgia paresthetica and the cluneal nerve entrapment. So these are the two nerve entrapments which, as the cause of chronic low back pain, are usually forgotten. I don't have any disclosures or conflicts of interest. Barring one disclosure, seeing the two previous speakers crossing the line, my only challenge is to finish this talk within the times. So, the myalgia paresthetica. So, what shall I be covering is myalgia paresthetica, that is lateral femoral cutaneous nerve entrapment, as well as the cluneal neuralgia. That is the two major cluneal nerve which are involved in the neuralgia are the superior cluneal nerves, the three branches, out of which the medial one is the commonest one, and the middle cluneal nerve. Usually, the inferior cluneal nerve is not involved in the entrapment. So before we proceed further, what are the pain generators of chronic low back pain and the leg pain? We all know various series of pain generators. Do we have a? Okay, so series of pain generators, and in real pragmatic word, we know that this is not just one pain generator which exists in the chronic low back pain and or the plus minus radicular pain. There are a lot of pain generators, and out of which what is generally been forgotten is the peripheral nerve entrapment. What are the various peripheral nerve which can get entrapped and can cause the chronic low back pain with or without leg pain? These are lateral femoral cutaneous nerve, which causes myalgia, cluneal nerves, gluteal nerves, sciatic, femoral, tibial, sural, peroneals, and so on. Any part of the nerve, lower limb, can get entrapped at various sites of the course. However, I'll be just restricting my talk to the myalgia and cluneal, and let's see whether I can finish the whole of it. Myalgia paresthetica, the major cause of and major area of entrapment is at the level of the inguinal crease, and this is pure sensory mononeuropathy of L2 and L3. The common risk factors are generally obesity, pregnancy, tight belts and garments, diabetes and post-surgical, and the simple intervention of a diagnostic and a therapeutic intervention does dramatic relief and causes long-term pain relief. So hence, I would say that this is a very small nerve, and which is a big diagnostic miss in our normal clinical practice. What are the symptoms? The pain is usually at the anterolateral part of the thigh. It is burning, tingling, more of the neuropathic pain. Examination tells either the hypoesthesia or a hypoesthesia. The tinal signs are positive at ASIS, and the diagnostic is primary clinical and by the confirmatory diagnostic test. These are the LFCN or myalgia is one of the differential diagnostic of L2, L3 radicular pain, femoral neuropathy or hip joint pathologies. A bit about anatomy. As Dr. Gautam said, we cannot learn sonoanatomy unless our mind is open about the 3D anatomy of the nerve or any organ which we are, or any part which we are examining. It is a pure sensory nerve of lumbar plexus. It arises from the dorsal division of ventral rami of L2, L3. It emerges from the lateral border of the psoas major, traverses iliacus towards ASIS, and passes underneath the inguinal ligament or through the inguinal ligament near the ASIS. And it supplies the sensation to the anterolateral part of the thigh. What are the various sites of entrapment? At the lateral border of the psoas major, over the iliacus, under or through the inguinal ligament. It is medial or inferior to the ASIS or within the fascia lata of the thigh. Sonoanatomy, how do we proceed about it? We place the patient in the probe is placed at the patient is supine. The probe is placed at the medial or the inferior portion of the ASIS. The sartorius is identified medially, and then lateral border of the sartorius is identified just superficial to the lateral border of the sartorius, and we identify the tensor fascia lata, which is lateral. Sartorius lateral edge is the medial, and LFCN is seen as the hyperechoic oval between the sartorius and the tensor fascia lata. This is located just below the tensor fascia lata. So this is, we place the probe at the ASIS, identified the sartorius. The lateral edge of the sartorius is identified. As we move laterally, do we have laser with us? As we move laterally, we identify tensor fascia lata, and these are at this level, ASIS. We usually see the various branches of LFCN, and we move cephalate. Okay, so we move cephalate where these various branches of LFCN are making one big LFCN nerve itself, and that is where we do the intervention. This entrapment, usually for the entrapment, I generally do injection or hydrolocation or diagnostic block below the LFCN as well as above the LFCN. The needle is arriving from the lateral edge, and the needle is coming from the lateral side. We feel the pop of piercing the fascia, identify, scoop below the nerve, and inject. And where this is the local anesthetic going, I'll also go above the nerve. I'm going interior to the nerve to basically make the whole nerve bathed into the solution and taking out the or breaking all the adhesions which are causing the entrapment. So this is for the myalgia paresthetica. Now let's move to the next cause, which is usually and mainly forgotten as a cause of low back pain with leg pain, that is cluneal nerve entrapments. Cluneal nerves are the source of chronic low back pain, and the incidence is pretty high, ranging from 13 to 14%. Superior cluneal nerve and middle cluneal nerve are the one which are primarily involved in the entrapment. This is one, cluneal neuralgia is one entity which has been labeled as cluneal neuralgia way back in 1957 by Strong and Davila. And we know that there are three cluneal nerve. One is the superior cluneal nerve, middle cluneal nerve, and inferior cluneal nerve. Inferior cluneal nerve is not usually getting entrapped. The anatomical overview of superior cluneal nerve is this is the dorsal rami of T. It arises from dorsal rami of T11 to L5 spinal nerve. It crosses the posterior iliac crest 7 to 8 centimeter lateral to the midline, innervates the skin over to the two-thirds of the gluteal muscle till the far lateral to the greater trochanter. These are grouped, the superior cluneal nerves are grouped as the medial, intermediate, and lateral superior cluneal nerve. It is usually the medial one which gets entrapped. Under the osteofibrous tunnel through the tensor, through the thoracolumbar fascia. That is the common site of involvement of entrapment of the superior cluneal nerve. Coming to the middle cluneal nerve is the dorsal rami of L5 to S3 or sometimes the S4. The medial branches, it divides into medial and the lateral branches. The medial branches supplies the multifidus. The lateral branches or the lateral trunks, they form a loop joining to the other posterior surface of the sacrum to the other nerves like either the superior gluteal nerve or the superior cluneal nerve. The inferior cluneal nerves, I will skip. These are usually not involved in the entrapment. So what are the causes of the superior cluneal neuralgia? Generally, the entrapment at the thoracolumbar fascia is the commonest site for SCN. For the MCN, it is the posterior sacroiliac ligament and as well as the aponeurosis of the gluteus maximus. There are iatrogenic causes. There are one most important cause is what we are doing nowadays is taking lot of BMAC, and it is the iliac crust, whereas we are aspirating the bone marrow, and that is where it becomes a source of cluneal neuralgia in the later term. Vertebral body fracture is another cause in the athletes who are who use this repeated extensor stretching exercises of the hip. The aponeurosis of the gluteus maximus leads to the entrapment of the middle cluneal nerve. Um, I would just skip that. This is usually, I'll talk about just once over here that cluneal neuralgia is our mind doesn't know, our eyes won't see when our mind doesn't know. This is one entity which has been ignored for years together as a cause of chronic low back pain. So the history is typically the pain is, and the tenderness, patient will come up with a specific pain, just lateral, 7 to 8 centimeter lateral to the midline. And this is, as I said, not just one pain generator is there as a cause of chronic low back pain. In real pragmatic world, we see lot of pain generators. So when the patient comes to you in a very busy clinic, I'll just share my one case scenario. We had a 3 months back, a 67-year-old female who came with severe back spasm and the radicular and the gluteal pain. She would say that I have a severe pain over the back, and wherever we touch, she has a tenderness. So we diagnosed her as a, she pointed out that, yes, this is tender, and we diagnosed her as the SIJ tenderness. And patient did have lot of SIJ tenderness. We gave SIJ. She recovered partly with the back pain. She recovered partly with that tenderness, which was medial. And now she comes to the pain clinic and she says, everything else is fine, but I definitely have a tender point, which was far lateral. We reevaluated, and this was the part which was spared. So probably this patient had lot of pain generators, and superior cluneal nerve was missed out in this patient, and then we finally put her on superior cluneal diagnostic block. So the position is usually prone, high frequency linear array probe is used. The transverse view is identified. We palpate the posterior wing of the iliac crest, approximately 7 centimeter from the lateral to the midline. SCN is noted as a please note that these are very small nerves. So this is noted as a small hypoechoic structure or inferior to the border of the iliac crest, and an in-plane or out-of-plane approach can be used. But in my practice, I use always the in-plane approach. So this is where you identify the iliac crest, and then you identify the thoracolumbar fascia. Just lateral to the iliac crest, superior cluneal nerve can be identified. Playing the video, please. Okay. So iliac crest is identified, thoracolumbar fascia, and then this is superficial fascia. This is the point of superior cluneal nerve. Please mark that this is not always identified. So what we have to do, what is known as the de-sandwiching, that you might have to, break lot of facial layers to overcome the entrapment of the superior cluneal nerve. Just lateral to the iliac crest. I have identified, and I wasn't pretty sure about the location, so I am trying to de-sandwich the whole area where the entrapment can occur. Okay, so identification of the middle cluneal nerve, it is located, locate the most posterior and inferior part of the PSIS, 2 to 3 centimeter lateral to the PSIS. We find the second sacral foramen, 1 to 1.5 centimeter proximal is the first, and the 1 to 1.5 centimeter distal is the third one. And then we identify the sacral foramen. This is the sonoanatomy picture, the lateral edge of the sacrum, the sacral foramen, and the needle is placed. The S2 or S3 are blocked. There are various techniques. I won't skip about that. Once the diagnostic test is done, then we can go for the ablative procedures. Peripheral nerve stimulator is another one entity. And what do? We do both the techniques together, whether it is ultrasound combined with the fluoroscopy. We do not have peripheral nerve stimulator with us. So what we do is that we place the catheter, the epidural catheter or the stimulating needle, and we stimulate the nerve for around 5 to 7 minutes and send the patient. Patient might require a second sitting. So this is what is known as the Indian jugaad for us when we do not have the peripheral nerve stimulator. Thank you very much.